The developing story this morning while we wait for President Cyril Ramaphosa to announce what he's going to do in the dispute between the Police Minister, Senator Mchunu, and the KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner, and Mkhwanazi. Still many questions around who really has the legal power to make certain decisions in the police. One of the big points of contention between the two is whether Mkhwanazi broke the law by refusing to obey what looks like an instruction from Mchunu to disband the political killings task team in KZN. Mkhwanazi claims Mchunu did this to protect certain people. Dr. Lennit Max is an advocate, a lawyer, and also a former provincial police commissioner, among many other things. Dr. Max, good morning to you, sir, and thank you very much indeed for your time. What does the law say about the powers of the police minister and the powers of a provincial police commissioner in this kind of dispute?
Good morning, Stephen, and good morning to your viewers. I must say that in terms of the Constitution, Section 206, the national minister is responsible for creating policy. And in terms of Section 207 of the Constitution, the National Commissioner is appointed by the President and is responsible for managing and take control of police functions. That means it have to manage take control of the operations and manage the internal affairs of the police, but also by direction of the minister, a policy direction. Now, what I actually saw is a letter circulating, which prompted to be a letter from the minister. No, that is not policy. That is the instruction, in my view.
Okay, so from what we know then, what the minister gave as an instruction would not be an instruction with lawful power. It wouldn't classify, he wouldn't be able to send a letter like that, basically. Would that be right?
Not at all. And the reason for that is that a provincial commissioner is assume his or her responsibilities in terms of the Police Act. Section 12(2)(b) is very explicit about the responsibilities of the Police Act. It states that the provincial commissioner is responsible to establish police stations and units in the Pacific province. So, and also for the distribution of resources and human resources as well as physical resources. That is now Section 12(b)(3). So any unit or any structure in the province is the responsibility of the provincial commissioner. And if there's such an instruction issued as we saw on this document, which appears to be the letter from the minister to the national commissioner, that is totally unacceptable. It is an unlawful instruction. And the national commissioner is also responsible for all 9 provinces. And there will be consultation between the national commissioner and the provincial commissioner. And it's only the national commissioner which can actually divert or instruct the provincial commissioner to stop or cease an operation or close down a unit.
So could the police minister ask the national commissioner to issue that instruction, or would he not have the power to order him to do it?
He can request the national commissioner to close down a unit, but then there must be a rational reason for that particular request. And the national commissioner, if he or she is convinced that request is illegal, can refuse to do that. A very simple example: when I was provincial commissioner in the Western Cape, I visited the Southern Cape, one of my regions. When I arrived back, I heard that the then MEC for Community Safety gave an instruction that all the officers at the High Court is going to be replaced after the escape of one of the Pagat members at the court. And I told the media, that is not going to happen, not under my name. And there was a conflict between me and the MEC. But I stood my ground because I know what was the effect of removing that people in the day-to-day arrangements of the high courts. It would have been a total disaster. So I refused to replace people, to remove people. And yes, and the National Commission agreed with me. But but that also contributed to, to me actually leaving the service.
I remember part of that, Dr. Max.
Yeah.
It was a very difficult time for you, I'm sure. So let me make an argument so that you can give me the counter-argument as to why it is like it is and the police can't just issue orders. I would make the argument, if I wanted to, that the police minister is a member of parliament, is thus democratically elected, and thus should have power over the police. Our constitution does not do that. I'm asking you for the very important reason as to why it doesn't give the police minister that power.
Can you repeat the question?
Sure. Why is it that the Constitution says the police minister cannot issue an instruction? Why is it only the National Police Commissioner? What I'm really getting to is how the police are, I presume, insulated from politicians.
Yes, that is very simple, because that is to maintain an arm length between politics and operations, because the South African Police Service doesn't belong to the ANC or whatever party. It belongs to the people of South Africa. And the minister is actually a type of oversight over the police with the function of issue policies policies in terms of to improve a service delivery. But if you see, look at the letter which the minister actually sent to the National Commissioner, that is not, it is not clear what was the basis of his decision. You know, there was no evaluation, according what I could gather, about the effectiveness of the unit. And contrary to that letter, Mchunu says that that unit was so effective and it was on the brink to get to a gang, actually, you know, in Gauteng. So the question is, who benefits from this particular decision? And the minister have to explain what moved him to issue such an instruction, not the request, but the instruction to the National Commissioner.
I mean, I presume the minister would have been told of what the law was and would have advisors. Dr. Max, you're very aware of the interface here between politics and the police, and in a way you've been a victim of some of those disputes. I have this horrible feeling in my stomach. It's not a rational feeling in my brain, it's a horrible feeling in my stomach, that something has changed in our security services, and that if it's not dealt with, we're going to end up in a situation where we have police officers really in disputes with each other. Aubrey Machikli, the political analyst, I'm sure you know him, a man of immense experience in this space, said earlier this morning on Newzroom Afrika channel 405, talking to Eldrin St. Pierre, he said that if we do not deal with this now, we could have a situation like the United States had with J. Edgar Hoover, where a policeman was more powerful, more important than politicians who are democratically elected. How important is it for the president to deal with this properly?
Absolutely important. Absolutely important. You know, our people are suffering of crime on a daily basis. There's cash and transit robberies. There is murders on a daily basis. Armed robberies, car hijackings, kidnappings, you know, and people are suffering. And this particular issue and dispute between the minister and between senior officers actually divert the attention of the police to their mandated, constitutionally mandated responsibility to internal affairs and personal egos. And the president got now the opportunity. And that is an ideal opportunity to deal with the rot in the police. You know, the problem which actually contributed to where we are at the moment is after Commissioner Fivers left, they appointed Jackie Celebi. He had no clue what policing was all about. After him, it is Becky Kelly. Becky Kelly, also a politician into the command and control of the police. and after him, a social worker as the national commissioner. Now, you don't have it doesn't take actually a scientist, to establish the reason for this rot. But now you've got also, questionable appointments in the police. People come from outside, inside the police with senior ranks and take control on over seasoned police officers. Now that actually work negatively on the morale of the police officers. So at this point in time, I would say and suggest that the president establish an investigation team to investigate this issue at hand expeditiously, but also make use of this opportunity to have a total investigation in the appointments of the police officers in the police and the problems which existed, which is detriment to the service delivery of our country.